Hello, welcome to Signal and Noise Podcast. Our latest episode, our latest podcast brought to you by ROI Rocket. We are a Market Once company, and my name is Brian Lamar. I think I'm Senior Director of Network Quality. That's my weird job title. And Andrew DeSillis, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Brian. How are you?
Doing great. I don't know your job title. What is your job title?
I believe that I am the head of client development for research services.
Okay.
I think on an org chart, I'm a senior director of sales, but my title's client development. So yeah, hybrid sales and consulting, insights, all that kind of stuff.
It is a Friday morning as we're recording this, and kind of building up to this episode is you and I, together and separately, have had a lot of conversations over the past, well, you've had longer than me, but specifically over the past 6 weeks ish.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of themes. You've heard a lot of themes. We've together heard the same themes. We've talked about it to death. And this is probably the shortest rundown in the dozens of episodes we've ever had of all the podcasts we've recorded. This could be one giant rant. I don't know how that's going to resonate.
It will be one giant rant, Brian. You know, over the last couple weeks, the entire industry, every client we've talked to, every researcher, whether they're in a brand, a research agency, a sample supplier, the entire space is screaming about quality. Data quality has gotten worse. Cleaning data makes my life horrible. We have the best quality. We have the best solution to filter out the bad quality. It's all that we talk about. And there's still kind of we think that we have a good solution by providing quality panel to start with instead of filtering it out. Maybe that's a solution. There seems to be little sweeping action. We'll talk about that in this extended rant. What could that look like, right? From an industry perspective, is there something that we can do in an organized fashion to solve the problem? And really, the provocative question that you posed to me that seems to be hiding in the margins because of the lack of clear solutions to this problem. Does sample quality even matter? For two people who've built our entire careers on trying to create quality sample, that's a pretty scary question.
Very scary. And for the industry, previously we worked at a sample sourcing consultancy, trademark Andrew DeSillis.
Yes, I did come up with that.
And we had flexibility, a lot of flexibility with the blends that we could put together that varied in very, very, very high quality to bottom of the barrel, cheap, least expensive sample there is.
Hey, they were economy blends, Brian, not
Trademark Andrew DeSillis. This is why you're in sales and I'm not. Economy blends. Thank you, sir. And now we're studying a very premium panels, and that's what we've heard from clients in the past dozen years is good quality, quality, quality. And we're working in a company, and there are other companies, and this is not a sales presentation for where we currently work. We work at a company that does a lot of investment in ensuring that our panels are best in class, that we're treating our respondents the right way, that we're incentivizing them the right way, that we're following all the rules that the industry has come up with to ensure the best respondents possible so our clients can ultimately make the best decisions. And that's what we're selling. And this question came to me because, and this isn't directed towards any particular client or person.
Yeah, if you hear this and you think that we're talking about you, 5 other people said the same thing.
Exactly.
This has been a very reoccurring theme.
And people say they want the best quality. I'm not sure if they do. And there are things that are happening to protect the ultimate buyers of sample and users of the data to ensure they're unaware of the problems and quality in our industry. And so this is a very complicated topic. as we go through this. We're probably gonna be some rambling, some ranting, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and we will want feedback from you all. Is this too much ranting? Does this resonate? Is this new to you? Are we on an island? I don't think we are.
I wish I was on an island, a real one, not a figurative one. That'd be nice. No, I think you're right though. We're definitely not the only people who are actually passionate about the quality of sample. We're definitely not the only people who are frustrated by the lack of movement around data quality. And, maybe we're kind of saying the quiet part out loud. Maybe there are other people who are asking themselves this.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. So I'd love for you to take kind of the first stab at answering that question. Does data quality matter? I certainly think that it does, but let's dive in.
Okay. Here's, I think, ultimately the challenge our industry is facing. And we have dozens, if not hundreds, of sample providers. And we're going to focus a lot about sample. This is going to be primarily sample-based quality. There are other forms of quality. We acknowledge that.
Yep.
But sample-based quality. Dozens, if not hundreds, of sample providers that has been commoditized over the past decade or more.
Mm-hmm.
And with technology and APIs and the ability now to go to non-panelists and the ability to use dynamic river sampling has infiltrated the sample space
Mm-hmm.
and caused a reaction from the industry to invest a lot in fraud protection, fraud prevention, a lot of investment in third-party verification techniques, acceptance of the industry of dynamic and river sampling, acceptance of the industry for routing, acceptance of the industry for a lot of challenges that we face. Then that's hard enough for sample companies. We have not done a great job as an industry in fixing a lot of the challenges that respondents face, so we have a poor respondent experience. Answering the same questions over and over again, same demographics, same profiling questions over and over and over again, same screening questions over and over and over again. Now with the fraud, we're now asking them lots of ridiculous questions. And with most clients outsourcing the research to vendors, to full service market research vendors, vendors have taken a lot of the data cleaning role where they clean data files incessantly for hours, nearly every study, and protect the client because it has their name on it. They want to deliver a good data file. And so most of the challenges that our industry is facing for the common client side buyer, they're probably ignorant and hidden intentionally from the challenge that we're facing. They're probably receiving a good data file at the very end of the study. Looks pretty good. That has gone through a million data quality checks and blocks and replacements and removals to get there. And I have the opinion this is horrible for our industry long term. This is not sustainable. That we block 10 to 50% of people on a study based upon digital fingerprinting. That we have pretty large dropout rates because of poor respondent experience. We have a huge non-response bias because the number of respondents we have to get to do all these surveys is smaller and smaller because we've been mistreating them with low incentives that are being cleaned and removed. Some say 10%, some say 20%. It's probably, maybe you disagree, 30%. I bet 30% of respondents that have gotten through the survey, which means they pass the digital fingerprinting and pass all the quality checks, are being removed for suspect reasons. This is not sustainable. Something needs to be done. And that's kind of my intro. which is a rant in itself. And it's just frustrating as working for a company that, I mean, not only that, the things that we've done on the front end and all of these things are hurting the good panels.
Right.
We're blocking people. You had a data file the other day that I looked at. We're blocking people that are real people.
Mm-hmm.
We're removing people because their open end was too good. We are what I don't remember the term that was used in that data file. Like, I'm not going to say it here, but it was
Yeah.
something like super bad. It was like, this is clearly a bad responded. Bad in this case meaning there's no way they're real because this open end is too good. And so I'm flagging them and removing them. There's no way. It's because this is a very smart client, experienced researcher who flagged a lot of responses because the open ends were too good. That's where we're at as an industry. That
Mm-hmm.
this is AI generated. This is a bot. This is fraud. And that is harming our panel. We've got to fight to get them incentivized.
Mm-hmm.
You led the fight to get them incentivized, and this is why I want to do the podcast. I'm kind of all over the place, so I'm gonna let you kind of take over here for a second, but it's very frustrating as someone that's passionate about this industry, has spent my entire career in this industry, is focused on the quality of data, and I don't know. I think we're going backwards.
Yeah. Well, and the listenership and everyone that we've talked to would agree that we're going backwards. That that is the sentiment, is that overall the quality of sample is degrading. So you're absolutely correct in that. And you raise an interesting point. If the quality of the end product is not affected by the quality of the sample, rhetorically jump back to the opener and what will probably be the title of this episode, does data quality even matter? Is how rigorously a client can clean the data now a differentiator? Is that
Yeah,
premium? Are they
yeah,
expert data cleaners and they can demand a premium price? Because ultimately, you and I sit here and we used to say back in the day, this blend is bias neutral. We're managing this huge network. We keep track of all of these quality metrics. Now we're sitting here and we say, well, our panel has the lowest removal rates, where everyone's triple verified. We're using,
right.
fundamentally sound recruitment techniques that don't invite fraud, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the end of that statement, like, and to get very specific, like, a lot of what I do is like sales strategy. So when we're chasing down, okay, well, like, here's a feature, here's how it's a differentiator, here's the benefit, which solves this pain point, which solves this deeper pain point, which provides X actual value. When we chase that through our messaging, and it's not just you and I, everyone in our space says, we provide better quality so that your clients can make better business decisions, because that's the risk, right? The risk is that we have bad data, our clients, the research firms, don't catch it, and then a brand makes a huge mistake. That's where it actually really blows up, right? There's some risk to this client was really concerned with that we lose that client for the agencies who sit in between, but the disaster happens when a brand makes a different business decision. If that is not actually a risk, because researchers at agencies are cleaning the data, then does it matter? And where is and this is what I've been noodling on, and I've asked, I think, 3 or 4 different clients this question over the last couple months. So if I asked you this question, hi. But there has to be a hard cost somewhere in the work stream for hours spent data cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And if the premium that we charge for low removal rates exceeds that hard cost, then it would make business sense to purchase cheaper sample and clean it. And I do say cheaper pejoratively. I mean that with all of the bad connotations, because if you're out there, you know, selling a dollar sample and incentivizing people 15 cents, you're part of the problem. I'm just going to say that. It's just, it's difficult. It's really difficult for me to articulate that exact issue and where that linchpin is in does quality matter. I mean, it almost comes down to like, do I need to segment potential prospects and clients by their accounting systems? No, I'm serious, right? Like this is something that when we ask, does data quality matter? Where's the cost of bad data quality? Where's actually the risk of bad data quality? Because if it's just a massive pain in the ass for everyone and bad quality doesn't actually affect anything except that we're all pissed off, well, guess what? We're not in business to make ourselves happy at work. We're in business to make money. So if it doesn't actually impact anything, then maybe that's why we're all sitting here in the agency space and in the sample space, bashing our heads against walls, saying the pendulum's swinging back, like I've been saying for 10 freaking years, and nothing is ever going to change because at the end of the day, when the bad stuff is removed, it would look the exact same as if it had been good.
Yep.
So that got really ranty. And I am happy about it because I just needed to let that out. And it's something that like I don't know what we do, and this is where we should go next. What do we do as an industry or as a group? It's been so cool ever since Case for Quality posted about this podcast. Shout out to everyone there. Thank you so much for calling us out. We appreciate your support. We've had really wonderful conversations with so many people, and there's like this network of like people who
Yeah.
care,
Yeah.
and that's so exciting. And whether or not we can even do business together, we've had people who just like, hey, let's just keep in touch. Like you guys are part of the good guys. I'm going to
Yeah.
introduce you to so and so. We meet, we talk, we're all just sharing like, what in the world do we do with this problem?
Yeah.
And that's exciting that there's a cohort of people who are just collaborating around the problems of the industry. If you're one of those people, what do we do to understand and solve this problem?
Let me give you an analogy. I drink this every day. You know this. I
Mm-hmm.
have sent to Denver office. This is a rock star for those of you all listening on podcasts. And we're on YouTube as well for the visual effects. You can see our beautiful backgrounds. And you can see how passionate we are, maybe. But I have it reoccurring from Amazon. I get 2 cases a month. So about one a day. And 1 can a day. And I do that because this brand has been discontinued. I want to make sure I've stockpiled it in case the apocalypse happens. I've got 6 cases back here I can show you. What if when I ordered it, of the 12 cans I buy, when they start making them, 30 of those cans suck. The flavor's off. Not real the same flavor. The can's bent. Can doesn't work. It doesn't hold its carbonation. Doesn't have the same. They're different every time. On the way here, half of them get lost on the way here. Finally gets to my doorstep, and they fixed it along the way. All the supply chain has fixed it along the way, starting with Rockstar and all their vendors and all their supply chains, and ultimately Amazon, and ultimately U.S. Postal Service. Gets to my doorstep. I've got 12 cool cans, and maybe of those 12 cool cans, 11 of them, 10 or 11 of them taste pretty good. That's the equivalent of what's happening in sample. Like, that is not sustainable. Like, that's crazy. If that happened in real life, if I ordered a dozen rock stars and it started off with 200 rock stars and they kept replacing and rebuilding and find them and losing them and thinking it's fake, and then it gets to my doorstep and still only 10 or 11 of the 12 are actually pretty good, that's a problem. And I think part of the problem is ultimately the validation of the decisions that are made based upon survey data. There's no validation of them other than maybe political polling. You can't check it. So if we're doing a concept test today, we might be giving them bad data. We don't know for years if the results, that the decisions they made based upon that data was the right decision or not. That's part of the problem, I think, is that we don't have a check to make sure that the right decision was made. And except for political polling, that's scrutinized enough, and it has its own challenges. But to me, the brands, if they're getting protected by the vendors all down the line, and they're getting a relatively clean data set, and there's no validation of the decisions they make or recommend to their boss, maybe data quality doesn't matter. Like, what are we doing? Like, ultimately, what are we doing?
So here's why it does.
Oh,
And this is going to be ominous.
okay.
And I mean it to be dripping with severity. In the example that you just gave, right? Where there's all these cans of Rockstar that are getting thrown out. There's all these things that are going on. They're getting replaced. They're have these different quality checks. They're getting lost, and then they're getting replaced again. What a tremendous amount of waste. What a tremendous amount of effort going into the delivery of the final product. And in your scenario, even though they were produced at a lower cost, there was a cost to the beverage manufacturer to create those cans.
Mhm.
And when we think about all of the waste, the inefficiency, the corrective action that has to be taken, right? And in our space, that's I've got to pay for this fraud detection software, and thank God for the people who make Detect and who make Research Defender, and who have all of these products to help keep the fraud out of their surveys. Our surveys, I'm not saying that we don't need those and those aren't good products, but like that's a cost, and then you have to fine tune it, and then you go through the digital fingerprinting data, right? If we don't control the temporal and fiscal costs of bad data, the space of market research suppliers is going to eat itself alive. We will destroy ourselves by providing an inferior product. Because this race to the bottom, this commoditization, this just accepting that poor quality is just kind of how it is, we've been shouting from the rooftops, oh, it has to come from the brands. If we could just get the brands to demand good quality. I don't know if they should care based on the conversations that we've had in the last 12 weeks. They're getting good data. Our clients, like our agency clients, we enjoy working with some of the smartest researchers around. They do a great job. I have no doubt that if they cleaned out 90% of data from someone, or they cleaned out 3% of data from us, yes, that's a real removal stat from this month, the data sets would look similar, and that the client would make the same decision. But what do we do when there's no sample suppliers? What do we do when there's no researchers who are willing to sit there on a weekend for 6 hours reading BS open ends? I don't know. The rabbit hole does go all the way down.
It is a deep, wide, very highly populated rabbit hole.
It is indeed.
Um, I had 4 potential solutions to quote fix it.
Pull me back from the edge. Pull me back from the edge.
We've gone 20-25 minutes already.
That's okay. If Joe Rogan can go for 4 hours, I'm all right with it. Let's keep rolling.
Okay. Let's do part 2, segment 2 of the podcast. We're easing off the ledge a little bit. That was pretty good, by the way. We didn't get too angry, didn't get too fired up, not too alarmist. We were an appropriate level of alarmist. If you disagree, let us know, please, please, please. I've been brainstorming ways, and I was called out by Case. What do we do? I can't go to brands with hey, there's a data quality crisis without a solution. And I agree, can't do it. Like, we just gonna keep yelling, oh, data quality, data quality. We've been doing that forever, before our time. It's been done, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So here's four. You probably have a couple ones too. The first one you kind of alluded to. Brands somehow get together and might break the law doing this, but whatever. Demand zero fraud. We are not paying for a data set that has one fraudulent respondent in it. No longer are we doing that. We want real people. We want you to prove it to us. If we have to disrupt the entire ecosystem, we want to prove who these people are. Figure it out, get together, get a global respondent ID that is validated with a third party with an actual name, a person, an address, an employer, whatever it takes, a credit score, banking information, whatever it takes. We are no longer paying for this. It's too important. It's too risky. We're tired of it. That's it. That's the number one way to fix. I don't know that would fix it, but that would do well, right?
Yeah. Well, we just spent 15 minutes talking about why that probably won't happen. So walk me through to your number two, Brian. If I had a magic wand, man, if I had a magic wand. But
yeah, these are, well, the problem is these are magic wand solutions, probably. Unfortunately. Number two, a third-party gold standard evaluated by case or a research company that has enough data and is unbiased and can do a gold seal of approval based upon what comes into the system, what comes out of the system, how much cleaning there is, has thoroughly evaluated recruiting practices, validation practices, incentive practices, knows all the metrics of all the panels, and says, you know what? Here's only 8 panels worth working with. There's 8, or whatever that number is, 3, 12, I don't know. It's a low number. And here's why they're the best. And that's a gold standard of approval based upon whatever it is. I don't know if it's if it's Directions Research, if it's Ipsos, if it's name your favorite Naxion, name your favorite high quality with a good reputation company that puts a seal of approval on it. And that's risky for them. I understand that. That's my solution number 2.
Well, and I would love to see, like, we almost need volunteers from different segments for this kind of solution. Like,
and a huge budget.
And a huge budget. But we need one. Well, no, actually, no. You know what? If we are committed to solving the problem, all the panel providers can throw in some comped sample.
Yeah.
They can do that. And then we'll have people who will volunteer their time to clean the data and to run the studies. And
it's going to be blinded.
It would be blinded as far as the sources.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be blinded, double blind. And we could have, one researcher from, let's make the sample size large. One researcher from 30 different research agencies. They all clean the data. Maybe they don't even know there aren't subpanel variables. 30 different people who are all well regarded in the industry. Representatives from each of the digital fingerprinting platforms, representatives from ASMR, from the Insights Association, from CASE, all providing input on how the experiment is designed, and then looking at the average removal rates by those 30 researchers. You'd have to have a large base size because there are certainly some organizations who are very aggressive in how they clean data quality. There are some who are too aggressive. I don't work with anyone who's lax, that's for sure, but I'm sure it's out there. There are some surveys that have less opportunity to expose poor quality.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a large base size. The problem is, let's say we do all that. What I have never seen, unless it was part of marketing materials and the design was questionable. I won't get too ranty on that. I have never seen anyone publish, here are 10 panels and here's all their removal rates. And I think that the people who have good quality sample are going to be, yep, here's 1,000 respondents. We'd love to participate in this. And the people who don't have good quality sample won't. And it will be clear who's providing good stuff by their participation.
Well, even if this is done, it may not fix the problem. Let's say there's this. All right, here's the platinum standard suppliers. They invest in all the methods to have the perfect data set. They cost 3 times more because of that. Are people going to pay 3 times more? It may not. Even if we proved it that we have the perfect data set, and I'm not sure if it would work because people may some companies would rather pay a third of the price, clean out, and deliver a data set that ultimately is going to be a third in sample cost. I spend an extra 12 hours cleaning it, replacing it. So I'm not even sure if this will work.
Hmm. I like the idea. The idea gets me excited, but you're right. Then you publish all that, you expose who's good and who's bad. Does that change purchasing decisions? I don't know.
Yeah, if you have to pay $5 for a consumer sample because we recruited them the right way, we validated them, we know who they are, we've done a face-to-face interview with them, we've checked their banking account, we checked their credit score, we checked to make sure they're not a liar.
Mhm.
It costs money. Versus anonymous person intercepted online who costs 10% of that. I don't know. This is the last one I have. Thank you for keeping listening this far into it. A consortium of high quality panels get together and say we are going to align on these best practices. We agree that your quality is as good as ours, or you meet a certain threshold, and we are building a consortium, and we market the consortium, and we almost separate ourselves from the rest of the industry. And I don't know how many there might be. There might be 6 members of the consortium. There might be 12. We put together criteria for entering the consortium, and then we challenge the industry to only buy from the consortium. I'm not sure if this would work, but it's something that I thought a lot about. And then I don't know how to judge the people to get into the consortium. Almost has to be a
Right.
third party to say, okay, you're
Yeah,
in.
because first of all, I love that. Second of all, I think it's deeply problematic in implementation. Not to poke holes in
Oh,
your plan there, but yeah, who gets in and who doesn't, and how does it either cannibalize business? How do we work together with one another? But the reason that I like it is because I immediately thought of people.
yeah. I thought of a
I
couple.
I immediately thought of several panels who definitely do things right, and they're the ones that I buy from. And so in some ways, we're kind of already doing that. I don't know. Maybe the consortium needs to be the ones to push for solutions 1, 2, and 3. Maybe that's what we need to get together a consortium of high quality sample providers who are pushing for a different solution. Um, I don't know, man.
Well, did I miss? Do you have any other crazy off the wall?
No, no, I don't. Um, I fight the good fight every day. I'm on the front lines of changing the way that people think about things is part of my sales role and in the consulting that I can do in the customer success aspects of my role. And I think that, if you're a salesperson, you work at a company where there's really high removal rates, or you think it might be problematic, just leave, go somewhere else. Um, I wrestled with that when I was coming back into the industry. And that's why I came here, because I knew it was a really high quality product and I would have to attach my name to it. Just keep fighting the good fight. If we all keep talking to one another about this, if we all educate our clients on it, try to understand deeply how poor quality data affects the entire research process. Because the question, does data quality even matter? Maybe it doesn't matter to the brand at the end of the day, but it definitely matters to a lot of us. And if that's the case, then we should do something.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of down right now.
You think so?
Yeah.
You wanted to
So
be fired up? And now you're down.
At least some words of encouragement if you've listened this far. And I know, you know what, we're speaking, this is probably an echo chamber a lot for people who are listening to this episode, probably, based upon what we've been talking about for years. And hopefully this echo chamber gets bigger and bigger and becomes more mainstream, and new listeners and new, maybe we expose people to challenges they weren't aware of because they've been protected for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, my hope, I guess, is that, I don't know, I'm just gonna say, let's say there's 300 of us out there that are really fighting this really hard and really passionate about it. Maybe it goes to 400, maybe it goes to 500, and maybe there's a tipping point somewhere, right? That maybe will get me in a better mood, that we're moving towards a tipping point where the industry is really gonna, maybe the brand, all of those things, maybe not all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but to a certain extent, some of those things kind of happen. That's what I hope, because I am passionate about this industry. There's
Yeah.
plenty of room for everybody to be successful. I've been saying for a long time that we can all win. Yes, RI Rocket Market Once competes against other simple providers. I think our industry is running about half capacity right now. There is
Mm-hmm.
money out there to by tons of research just sitting there because of reluctance to, because of poor quality. There's things out of our control, such as the economy, economic factors for certain are part of it. There's more than enough sample to go around, more than enough research dollars to go around, that the people doing the right thing can all grow together. I'm convinced of that. So this isn't me trying to build up our market share. I want to improve the freaking industry. I want everybody to win. I want our former employer to win. I want our competitors to win, that they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to grow, particularly because I love where I work and I love my coworkers and I love what we're doing as a company. We're doing the right thing, and that's a huge investment. And I want to grow that. I don't
Yep.
want to minimize that. I want to even do more. And so we need feedback on this too. Come on the episode and challenge us, or maybe there's some other solutions out there that I didn't think of. There's a lot of smarter people out there that have different solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll close with that. I'm a little bit better space than I was 5 minutes ago.
Good, good. Yeah, and you hit the nail right on the head. If you agree with us and you're fired up and you want to come on for a research rant, reach out. Seriously, reach out. You can find us on LinkedIn. That's probably where you found this episode. We want to have you on. We are about to go on a guest rampage. There are a lot of people who are interested in being on the show, and we're looking forward to releasing all of those episodes in the near future. Ryan, I'm not feeling pessimistic. I am feeling fired up. And it's an interesting rhetorical exercise to ask the question, does data quality even matter? And unfortunately, if we come to the solution that maybe it doesn't matter to the brands, and from brands, all the dollars flow, right? Because they're the ones who are engaging with you and I. Our dollars leave us and go to brands when we buy stuff, and then they're right. So yeah, I understand that. But we as an industry, for- forget my whole doomsday prediction that eventually there won't be any panelists, companies, or researchers if we don't fix the problem. We should be proud of the products that we're creating. And
Yeah.
we should all band together to do better. And so maybe if by acknowledging that, like, look, it like Procter and Gamble and Kellogg's and all of, the big brands who are big spenders on research. Like, and with the caveat, like, we work with a lot of brands. There's fantastic researchers there. I'm not calling anyone out, but and I think there are actually some on case, so maybe those are bad examples. But what I'm trying to say is that we can't sit here and say, if the brands just come to our rescue, oh, if they would finally pay for quality, then everything would be better. Like, no, we can't wait for that. We, as a space, won't shut up about data quality. Is it just posturing, or are we going to do something about it? And if we stop waiting for some deus ex machina economic shift in our space, and we start every single day, all of us, everyone listening, people who aren't, share this episode, we do what we can to provide better data quality because we care. I think that's a lot more approachable than waiting for this to come from somewhere upstream.
Well said. Way to close this.
I hope so. That's about as ranty as I get earlier on in this episode, Brian. So hopefully we don't get shut down. Hopefully some people enjoy it. We'll see. Thank you to everyone who's listening. Thank you to all of the clients who've had these conversations with us over the past several weeks. These are incredibly complex issues. No one should feel called out. No one should feel challenged by any of this. If you did, reach out. Let's talk about it. We're only going to make the industry better by actually having these conversations. So thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun for Brian and I, and we'll see you next time on Signal and Noise.
Bye, guys.